Find product links below and hundreds more videos on my channel. Hi everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to be reviewing the SOG B66. This is a very cool multi-tool that gives you a lot of power in the grip of the pliers. I have a lot of negative things to say about this, but I don't want you to think this is a negative review because it really isn't. I really like this multi-tool. There are other versions from SOG that have this gear system for the pliers. I think they might even be older versions, but they don't have some of these features which didn't work that well for me. That's possibly just an incorrect choice of multi-tool for my use. The power thing, as opposed to standard multi-tool, which would just do that, this one has gears, which give you more power in the grip, and it does give around double the amount of power from what I can feel, just like SOG say that it should. Overall construction is pretty okay. It doesn't feel super solid, but it also doesn't feel like flimsy. It just feels like it's maybe has a little bit of a sort of flex to it. I don't actually have a problem with that flex. I just would have actually wanted a little bit more space in between there when it closes. So I would have wanted it to fully close with a little bit of space because the two parts hit each other. When I take it out, I need to have the knife available immediately, not after playing around with it. Because normally you're holding something that you need to cut, and so you need to just get the knife and do the cut. With this thing, because it's overall quite a stiff system to make that knife push out, every time you want to try and push it out, it will quite hurt your finger. Another thing is that this lock system right here is fairly loose. It's too much of a hassle to open. I kept having to play around with this whole system of trying to figure out whether that's locked or not on an actual job or a project that I'm doing. I never reached for this when I actually needed a knife. Again, same thing goes for when you want to close it. You will have to see whether it's locked or not, and you're going to have to push up against this thing, which is very uncomfortable on your finger. You can see that it's leaving marks right there. I hope you can see that in the video, but it's leaving marks just right now from me pushing it. It is sort of possible to close it with one hand, but not really, compared to a liner lock like this, which is a button that you press right there, which is nice and easy to close and open with one hand. I don't like this opening and closing system. As it comes from the factory, there is a very small amount of play in the blade. It does have a saw. I really like that it has a ruler on the outside. So the other side over here has tools that are not always that easy to get out, and I really don't like this extra system that sort of has to close over it in order to make the grip more comfortable, because on a lot of other multi-tools they simply round off the corners a little bit, and then that just makes all the difference you need, in my opinion, to make that more comfortable. They have this system over here which they call the piano lock, which is a bunch of little locks, an individual lock for each tool. And I really don't like that. I find that it just means you have to push that much harder with your fingers. You really have to push into there with your fingers in order to release those, because the surface area is split in between all these ones. So normally if it was just one piece, you would have this big surface area that you'd be able to press on, and it would be a little bit easier to actually release it. So I don't think there's any need for this to have that kind of system, and I think it's just a hindrance rather than any help. I didn't have any problem with the file. It worked pretty well, so that's a plus. And of course you could use this tip here for it's a little bit of a wedge or a screwdriver, so that's good. We have the same thing again here. We've got a bottle opener, which is also a screwdriver. That works fine. The Phillips screwdriver works fine. Another flathead screwdriver. A bottle opener, pretty okay, no complaints. They call it the V-cut, sort of a safety cutter, possibly cutting packaging. It feels very weak, and it's certainly not something I would want in an emergency situation. It feels weak, and it doesn't cut very well. It doesn't really cut through paper because the paper just gets stuck right there, which I would assume would also happen with other kinds of, I haven't tried to cut a seatbelt with it, but I would assume the seatbelt could also get caught right there. And because the blade is exposed on one side, I have snagged my finger onto there, and luckily I didn't cut myself. It's very easy for this thing to just snag your skin, because it is, two exposed blades. And so when you're opening tools, you have to actually be careful, because these tools are replaceable. I would probably consider just swapping this out for something I like more. Because I'm going to be switching this to a different model of SOG, I'm not actually going to be doing that. We've got a little loop right there, which you could, attach something too. I managed to break these cutters by cutting a small keyring thing. It was a very thin one. I tested it with my Leatherman, then it cut through it just fine. And with this thing, one cut without that much pressure did wreck the thing here. With my Leatherman, I would just cut the hell out of anything I want because I've never managed to do anything to the wire cutter. And I did manage to chip the needle nose here, but as far as I know it's a lifetime warranty, so I emailed SOG and they got back to me very quickly and very quickly sent me a replacement from the USA, which was very nice. I really love the pliers. They give you a ton of strength in the grip here. That is the main thing that I like about this. I use this tons as a plier. It is a very, very powerful set of pliers, and being able to get all that power into that tiny little spot at the tip of this grip is so useful for the kind of stuff that I do. So for me, all of these issues with it and the fact that I don't use any of the tools that come with it as a multi-tool was sort of okay for me because I love the pliers so much. It does come in a leather pouch, which is nice. I really like the style and look of it, and it stank. It stank so bad that if it was on my belt I could smell it. Old fish. It was pretty bad. So my aunts, they said put some hand lotion on it, and we put it on, let it dry a few times, and that removed the smell, and then it was left with just a really nice leather smell, like leather should smell. Another person who has a SOG himself told me that his one smelled of fish as well. Carrying this on the belt is very comfortable. I really like this belt pouch. And the reason I have a clip here is because when I'm at home, I'll put a clip there because I don't always wear a belt at home. And so this allows me to clip it onto my belt loop like that, just like on my trousers, rather than actually having to put a belt on and put the belt through there. So it just allows me to quickly clip it on while I'm working inside the house. But outside, of course, I would just remove this and put that there. However, I haven't been using this outside very much. When I did need to carry it, I loved this pouch. I'm not sure how many multi-tools can be easily opened with one hand, and sometimes with this one I need to open it with one hand. I'll sort of press it up against like my leg or something, and I can open it and close it with one hand, but it's not that comfortable and it tends to pinch me right there. So I have to sort of be careful and do it slowly like that. So not ideal to open with one hand, but it is sometimes really necessary because you're holding something else. Either you're holding something heavy, something you don't want to put down, or something very delicate that you don't want to let go of. So having this being able to open with one hand, I think is awesome. However, when you do that, it will hurt your knuckles very badly unless you are accustomed to it. That would hurt. My hands are kind of used to it. For most people, that is going to hurt like a bitch. You should be careful with that, and adding oil here might make it easier to open and close. And I love that I can open this with one hand. I mean, it's really useful, and yeah, one of the things I really love about this. When you first get it, it just makes a lot of sort of black crap on your hands from the sort of paint job. I noticed the same thing with this one as well. The paint job is full of scratches when you get it, so it just looks pre-used even when you get it right from the factory, like this one right here, which for me is not something that bothers me at all, but it's something you should be prepared for, that you're not getting a nice brand new shining multi-tool. You're getting, maybe you could say, more of a work tool than a pretty thing. The silver version of this was beautiful. I had a look at one of those in a shop. It was really pretty. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this helpful. I hope that you don't hate me for saying so many negative things about this. I think it's amazingly awesome and amazingly flawed at the same time, which is why I'm going to be going for another model from SOG, because they have a model that fixes a lot of these issues. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye. So this is Andy. I'm gonna do some high-speed photography stuff. Turn your head like completely sideways. Jump.